Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back here to Salam Media with myself, Ahmed Kaji. This is Local Matters. We are together until 9 p.m. This evening. We have a packed show coming up for you later on. We'll be speaking to the Special Olympics South Africa regarding access in and around the city of Johannesburg for people and athletes with intellectual disabilities, and regarding any private organizations and community groups who are helping out in their communities. We'll be speaking to Better Kingsington around 8:45 p.m. But our topic of conversation and our big one this evening, our big interview for this week between now and the next half an hour to 45 minutes or so, is an interview with the Land Party's mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, Ms. Ntsiki Mazwai. Ntsiki, thank you very much for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed. Thank you for having me.
Really, really a pleasure. And thank you for coming out in the cold. Johannesburg is doing something today, isn't it?
Yeah. I did say to you as I came in that's one of the things I'll change when I'm the mayor of Johannesburg. We won't have this kind of weather again.
Well, let's as long as everyone who is in this weather gets saved and is in some sort of comfort, I think that's the most
right. The most important thing.
The homeless at the moment are struggling.
Exactly.
We can hope that they get taken care of as well. So, Ntsiki, let's maybe give some insight into you. You've been a social commentator, a poet, an author, musician, media personality.
A Joburg citizen.
Why are we running for mayor?
We're running for mayor because our politicians have made a mess of our governance. I don't know if you've seen the recent stats on unemployment. We're just on a downward spiral. I'm running for mayor because I am a citizen. I know our problems. I know the people. I think there's a very big gap between politicians and us. And they don't have our lived experiences. They're quite cushioned from reality. So I've always been part of the majority. I understand how we're living from literally month to month, literally. I understand how the electricity prices affect us, because for them, it's not such a big deal. But for us, really, like, every ounce matters. And, all these oxys in there, I understand that. You were speaking about the homeless earlier on. I understand how homelessness is becoming a reality, even for people in the middle class. You're finding a lot of people going back to their homes, back to townships, back to packed houses. Some households have got 15 people living in them. So I kind of understand what we're going through, understand how the public transport system is affecting all of us, how, like, from Soweto to, your work, you might have to take 3 taxis, which means that you have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I understand. Yeah, there's just a lot of Joburg. I understand how, especially as a woman, how we can't go jogging, the safety of Johannesburg. I understand what we are all going through because I'm going through the same things. And I can see that the politicians are just taking us for a ride, and there's a lot of corruption in there, and they're just cutting up the pie for themselves, essentially, and they've lost sight of the vision of what public service actually is. So I'm there understanding that I am a servant of the people. I will hear from the people on how to move forward, and that's why I'm running.
All right. You've mentioned a number of policies which you'd like to change, and I'll get back to that
Sure.
in a few moments' time. But the Land Party background, your background all the way down from the Western Cape,
Yes.
in Hermanus. Why moving up to Joburg? Why do you think there'll be that translation from Hermanus, which is a relatively smaller town in the Western Cape, to probably the biggest city in the country and probably the continent? Where do you see
absolutely.
Where do you see that mix coming in? How exactly can you make it better?
So we're definitely a David versus Goliath situation. However, this is how change usually comes. It starts as a small thing. In Hermanus, a lot of the poor people have had representation in the Land Party. There's a colored area called Mount Pleasure, which has benefited a lot, from the Land Party. The poorer communities, the Land Party has done a lot in that area. And I think that the energy of the Land Party is something that's needed to spread across the country, because poverty is not only in the Western Cape. We especially face poverty here. And I think that it's just important to try new things. Me coming in from outside traditional politics means that I'll be able to operate outside the box and come in with new creative ideas on the way forward. We've seen in the past 32 years that they actually haven't changed much for us. So I think that we do have an opportunity to just try new things, some fresh energy, and see that,
I mean, you use if we have to use the blasé term of new kid on the block, many people may also question whether you come with the experience or the qualification to manage or perhaps govern the biggest city in the continent.
The people who have had experience and have had 32 years experience in governance have not done anything. So it's not like you can compare me to anybody and be like, and just because somebody is new to something, it doesn't mean that they're not competent. A lot of them also came in new. If we look at the mayor of New York City, he also came from a creative background. If you look at in Uganda, Bobby Wine, if you look at Ronald Reagan, it's not a new thing for somebody from outside of traditional politics to move in. And I actually might surprise you. I might be the mayor that Johannesburg never knew they needed. So I don't think that should be an issue at all. Also, the mayor's role, I don't do administration, I've got great teams that are going to be backing me up. And when we look at the financial, there's the CFOs and those teams. I don't need to know the nitty gritties. All I need to do is to weave everything together and make sure that everybody's working together, holding everybody accountable, prioritizing the budget. I've been sitting for the past couple of months, learning how the city's doing and seeing where I'm going to make a difference. So basically for me, that's not even a question. I'm ready for you guys. And if you can just trust me actually, because you haven't been able to trust the other children. So
keeping with policy around, I guess, land, which is the name of the political party, right? The Land Party, many people may associate with, land expropriation, or compensation. Where does land sit in the Land Party?
I know everybody's so nervous about that one.
I mean, there's private property, there's land across the board, which could be used for housing, infrastructure, private sector.
Although this is a national policy and I'm more concerned with Johannesburg, when it comes to land and how the Land Party views land is that we need to have a national referendum to unpack the situation. And also when we say expropriation, we don't believe in expropriation without compensation. When we say expropriation, we're speaking about using up the municipal land that's not being used, using up land that is just sitting there. Sometimes you'll find a property that's 100 hectares and the owner is in Germany and the land is just sitting there. So we need to make sure that our land is productive and is actually feeding our people. When we look at land and we look at farms, for instance, we need to make sure that farm owners are also responsible for looking after the communities around those farms. So we don't mean that we're going to come to your house there in Mayfair or Greenside and just take your house. No, not at all. We're looking at unused land. We're looking at massive pieces of land that can help our whole country and our whole city be more productive.
We're in conversation with Ntsiki Mazwai. She is the Land Party's Johannesburg mayoral candidate. We are in conversation with her right through until 10 to 8 p.m. Central African time. So please do stay tuned to us. If you have any questions for her, please send them through to us on our social media platforms. We look forward to your engagement. But for now, please stay tuned. We'll be back after this break.
Across Sudan, starvation is tightening its grip. With rising food prices and widespread malnutrition, 8.7 million people are now facing emergency or famine-level hunger. As the conflict intensifies and aid routes narrow, families in Sudan are running out of options and time. The Al Imdad Foundation is delivering life-saving humanitarian aid to those most at risk. Stand with Sudan. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Right now, in lands many of us feel deeply connected to, a mother holds a sick child, worried and fearful as she knows her nearest hospital has been destroyed. This is the mother we go beyond borders to reach. Doctors Without Borders is there in the world's toughest places. We go where others can't or won't, and we go immediately. When you give to us, we go even further. Visit msf.org.za/sadaqa, that's SADAQAH, and support Doctors Without Borders today. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening. Welcome back here to Salam Media. It's just gone 33 minutes past 7 p.m. Central African time. We are together until 9 p.m. We are in conversation with the Land Party's mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, Ntsiki Mazwai, taking us through their policies and what makes her a candidate, on why you should put an X next to her name come the 4th of November this year. Ntsiki, thanks again for joining us on this cold Johannesburg evening.
Thank you, Ahmed.
We are speaking about what land is considered. Many people may think the land party is regarding expropriation without compensation, rural land, farmland, along those kind of lines. I guess it's also, if we have to bring it back to the city, it's probably informal housing, inner city land, hijacked buildings. Take me through what exactly you mean by that and what your solutions are in those.
Okay, the hijacked buildings are a big one in Johannesburg. What we're going to do is that, it's unacceptable to have hijacked buildings, especially when they can be used productively for the city. So we want to invest in more small businesses and more creative enterprises. We want to create alternative accommodation for the people and turn the buildings, refurbish them and turn them into creative hubs, so we can create new economies. We want to make sure that people are living in low cost housing, but it has to be legal. We do not endorse illegality. Even with this illegal immigration issue that we're facing with the country right now, we want people to be documented. We want to make sure that we prioritize South Africans. People are not crazy when they have these so-called vigilante groups. It's not like there is no legitimate pain, and the legitimate pain really is unemployment. So we have to open up and reform our economy. We have to be open to direct foreign investment. However, the foreign investment has to prioritize South Africans. It has to make sure that we develop our people first before profits. So when we speak about housing, you're making me think of Alex. Alex is one of my main project points that I want to start with. I think it's unacceptable that we have people living like that just 2 kilometers away from the richest square mile in Africa. I think we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We want to rebuild Alex block by block. So in practical terms, that means that we'll go to a block, we'll move people into temporary housing, build high-rise buildings, because that is the issue. The issue is that there's overpopulation in Alex, and that's in a lot of ghettos. So we want to invest in high-rise buildings. I don't know if you've seen like China and Russia, how they deal with their low-income housing. So we want high-rise buildings. So we also want fields and green areas for the children to be able to play in. It's unacceptable that the children are playing in the streets, and even having to be with rats. It's just, Alex is an ugly situation, and we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. There's a Just Sky River there that needs to be cleaned out. Alex could be looking like Amsterdam. So we do have a lot of work to do, but it is about creating high-rise settlements as opposed to the way that we've been working, and cleaning up our so-called ghettos. That's a high priority for the Land Party, because we are focused on the poor and the working class. In the past, we've had parties that focus on, for example, big business or the Black elite, and we need to move away from that model because it's just widening the income gap and people are really suffering. So the thing about the Land Party is that we are focused on the poor, we're focused on the working class, we're also multicultural, multiracial, so there isn't so much of the radical. It's more about, okay, guys, how do we all work together to make sure that this country works for all of us equally?
You speak about Alex, you speak about, reclaiming buildings which have been stolen. I mean, this sounds great in theory.
I know, right?
In practice, that means those people, residents of those buildings, people in Alex need to be relocated while things get repaired, replaced, and new infrastructure is built. Where do they go?
We are going to create temporary housing for them. So that's the plan. You go to a block of Alex, there's temporary housing, you move all those families to the temporary housing, fix, then move them back in, go to the next block, move this group into the temporary housing, and then fix, move them back, block by block.
And where exactly are you planning on putting the temporary housing? I mean, people are probably living there, traveling to work from Alex, or maybe moving to temporary housing. The question then is, where are you going to have the temporary housing, and would there be resistance from the community?
There are, even like when you look at Wynberg, there's areas where there's abandoned buildings. There are spaces that are barren around Alex, so it's not that far from where they're working in Sandton. So there is solutions. It's just that it's difficult to imagine a new future because we're so used to the gloomy one that we're living in, but we actually have to. The only way that you can actually move forward is if you try new things, and it's realistic to move people into and create camps, but temporary camps, not like Blikkersdorp in Cape Town, where,
I mean, there's a big concern around that. Is once people move into that space, that could become their permanent residence, and want to move back, and then Unison's created another informal settlement.
No, we don't. We want to eradicate informal settlements. We want to eradicate shacks. We do not believe that people deserve to live like that, especially in a city that is actually quite wealthy. Our problem is that there's corruption and there's a lot of leakages in the budgets. But if there is stringent consequence management, then we can control that. Almost half of the revenue, around about 40% of the revenue is going to bad debt, it's going to corruption. So we just need to have consequence. In the past, we've never had consequence. We've never seen politicians going to jail. We've never seen accountability. We don't even know what that looks like. So we have to create a new culture where people know that if you're going into government and you behave badly, you're going to jail. You know, if you remember the PPE scandals, jiggy, the next thing, people are deployed into new departments. So we've never had a culture of accountability. And that is what we're going to have to move into an era where whistleblowers are safe, So it's just about, we have to change our consciousness, really, as a society. Our silence has also enabled a lot of what is going on in the country.
I'm just going to bring it back to the Alex situation. What are you going to deal with first? I mean, there's a housing crisis, there's a water crisis, there's water and sanitation, there's transport, there's toilets. What should be the first solution? I mean,
but when we rebuild,
there's relocating. I mean, where do you think the money is going to come from?
The money is going to come from foreign investment, because we're going to clean up not only Alex, but the whole of Joburg. We have to clean up. I love making the Slay Queen analysis to be like, if you want to attract blessings, then you actually have to be clean. And it's just not on the outside clean. It's about your, your finances. We actually have to go in and look at our revenue collection. We have to look at where we're making the losses. We have to see how we, like, one of the things I want to address in my first 100 days is I want to have an economic financial indaba, so that we look at our budgets, we look where are we losing money, because Joburg does have money. We know this. The reason we've got things like, I know this is Ekurhuleni, but the looting of governments, because that's also happening in the city of Joburg, is because there is money. It's just that the money is going into the wrong hands. So really it's about our accountability and consequence management. Again, that's the main thing. It's just that people are not being held accountable.
I mean, you speak about accountability, there's housing as well. Where does private property sit in all of this, in terms of Sandton is 2 or 3 kilometers away from Alex Township? How do they get affected? Someone may be living in Morningside, Benmore, Weinberg. Would they may have concerns? What would you say to them? You may say, there's a chance that a temporary relocation site will be a bit closer to their residents. What would your response
We
be?
have to move away from apartheid spatial planning. That's a reality, We can't have people who think that they're better than other people. And that's one of the policies in the land parties, that we preserve human dignity. If people are good enough to work for you, then they're good enough to also be taken care of. I mean, it's temporary. We just have to get over egos, and we have to understand that we are as strong as your weakest player. So if our weakest is this huge widening gap, it actually makes the whole country unstable and insecure for even longer, because we've got this problem that's just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. But if we actually start tackling it now, it's going to be better for our future, for our children's children. So really, we have to get over the egos and the pride issues. It's really just about, guys, it's time to be practical. And how do we make this country or the city more productive? We make it productive by making sure that the workforce is well taken care of, so that they can produce more and be more, because literally the poor people are the backbone of the economy. And if you can take care of them, then you are taking care of the economy.
Before we head through for our next ad break, I'd maybe just like to touch on what your first 100 days would probably look like if you happened to be elected as mayor.
Thank you. Oh, right now?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to break. Okay. So definitely, the first priority is to clean up Joburg. As I said, it's not just the aesthetic, not just about refuse collection, but also cleaning up our money. Where we just have to look at our baseline, where we are at. What do we owe? What do we own? Where are we? Be it electricity or the water or the refuse collection, where are we? Cleaning up. We want to also have that economic financial indaba I told you about, where we have the best minds in finance to come and unpack our budget and see where we can stop the wastages, where we can increase our revenue, where we can just get the finances in order. And then lastly, I want us to work on starting to invest in our small businesses and our entrepreneurs, because when we speak of economy, we're speaking about productivity for the country and the city. And we can't always rely on the giant corporates for employment. The small enterprises also contribute actually and can create more jobs for people, therefore a larger tax base, which will mean more revenue for the city, which means everybody lives better. So those are my focuses for now.
It's just gone 7:45 p.m. Central African time here on Salam Media. This is Local Matters with myself, Ahmed Kaji. We are together until 9 p.m. this evening. Our show is all about finding out what's going on in your local government elections, heading into local government elections, and how you can make an informed decision heading into November the 4th. We are going to go for a short ad break. Please stay tuned here to Salam Media.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
More than 800 million people around the world live in deep poverty, uncertain of where the next meal will come from. For those on the brink of starvation, a food pack means survival, dignity, and hope. Send food. Send kindness. Be the reason a family does not go hungry. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Hey Gulam.
Yeah?
Did I return your lawnmower last month?
No, bye, you didn't.
Oh no. Now what'll I do? I wanted to borrow it again, man.
With Randry Jewelers, you won't have to borrow or lend because the prices are so well trimmed on all gold and diamond jewelry. Alternatively, we could remake your old jewelry into a brilliant new design. Visit Randry Jewelers at 151 Stevens Lamini Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randry Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Gaza needs your support more than ever. Homes have been shattered and families have lost everything. With your support, our teams are delivering clean water tankers, feeding the hungry, and assisting orphans who have no one left. Let us give Gaza whatever help we can. African Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring. Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
It's 10 minutes to 8 p.m. Central African time here on Salam Media. This is Local Matters with myself, Ahmed Kaji. We are still in conversation with Ntsiki Mazwai, the Johannesburg mayoral candidate from the Land Party as well. Ntsiki, thanks again, and we continue our conversation. You've spoken about a 24-hour economy for the city of Joburg. What's that all about?
Thanks, Ahmed. You know, at the root of all our problems is poverty and unemployment. And as we said earlier on, it just keeps increasing. The unemployment rate keeps increasing, which means that we have to focus on investing in entrepreneurship and creatives. People often undermine how lucrative the creative industry is. I mean, with just one artist, there's so many economies around that, whether it's the fashion or the radio, not the radio, the studio time or the performance. You know, there's a lot of people feeding off just one artistic brand. So we need to actually realize that we can have economies that are centered around the entertainment industry. When you look at America, a huge bulk of their economy is based on the entertainment industry. And that is our strength as Africans, is that we are creative. So when we speak about a 24 economy, I mean, obviously everything is always related and connected. It also speaks to us having to make sure that we have a safe Joburg. The reason we don't have 24 hours is because we know we have to run home quickly before the thugs come out. So it speaks to us having to beef up our security. JMPD is going to have to work a bit harder. We're going to have to invest in technology that looks after the city, that drones, cameras. We have to invest in our technology. That's why it's also so important that people are documented, because when you look at other more developed countries, for instance, you can walk into a shop and a camera picks you up and already has your social security number, your address, who you are, male, female. So we have to start imagining a Johannesburg that is on par with other world cities, because we are a world city, we can be on the same level. So the 24-hour economy speaks to more employment. It speaks to Johannesburg being more productive, therefore earning more money. It speaks to our nighttime economy, whether be it clubs or restaurants or actually just any kind of business that can operate at night. So the more there's business, once again, the more employment there is, once again, there's more productivity, more money for the city. I think a time has come where we just have to focus on making money, much like in the Chinese Revolution, when they had to opened up and reformed their economy and introduced more capitalism. We have entered that era because we are actually getting left behind, and we actually do have to admit that we do need the rest of the world. So we do need to open up. But what is imperative is that we always have to make sure that there is more priority given to our local citizens. We cannot, that's very, very important. So it's just about the 24-hour economy is about being more productive, making more money, making Joburg wealthier.
I mean, you've spoken about all of this comprehensively about, keeping places open, ensuring that we'll invest in technology. JMPD will need to work harder. You've made reference to the China model as well. What came from China was a whole lot of funding from government and private sector. You've spoken about foreign investment. Do you think all of these objectives can be reached solely with foreign investment?
I think that not solely. I mean, obviously that's not realistic, but we are paying rates. We can collect some kind of revenue from the people. As we've seen, the Department of Treasury has been able to fund our government all these years. So when we integrate government and public and private investment, it is realistic. Leadership is about vision and being brave to imagine something else and leading people into a new world. So we actually have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe that it's possible. We can't keep the status quo. Right now, where we are with our governance model, it's not working. So we need to try new things, whether we like it or not, really.
Going to move things along. We've spoken about employment, the economy, but you've touched earlier on around foreign nationals and their place in the city. You've spoken about a 90% South African employment and a 10% foreign national employment. That may have raised some questions by some sectors of society.
Of course. You know what? We have to prioritize South Africans. Like I was saying to you earlier on, it's not people are not marching because they feel like it or it's just for fun. People are genuinely upset. People are genuinely aggrieved. People are unemployed. And the only way that we can make sure that our people are happy is to reserve their jobs, So the Land Party does advocate for 90% local employment, and we're going to have incentives for businesses that employ 90% locals, and punitive measures for businesses that do not comply. We don't have a choice at the moment. There's going to be disruptive business if we continue like this, and the aim is for us to move into something more productive that can work for everybody. So I don't think we should be shy about prioritizing ourselves. Even other nations and other countries, they also prioritize themselves. And I don't think that South Africans ought to tolerate the criminality of being undocumented. You know, that's a national security issue. We do have to beef up our borders. We do have to make sure if me and you have to be documented, then everybody must, you know, even when you're from another country, you just can't come here and do as you please, which is what the South Africans are crying about. We do have to hear the cries of our people. What we do not want to tolerate is the abuse of other people's human dignity. So, and the abuse of people taking the law into their own hands. We've got a government and law enforcement agencies who are deployed to do the work that, say, March on March is doing. That's not March on March's business to do that. It's not for civil society to go and ask people for their documentation. It's not in your place, and that's an abuse of people. It's not in your place to be screaming abahambe and beating up people. So we are for human dignity. It's not the what so much, it's the how. So part of the how is preserving people's jobs, reserving jobs for locals.
I mean, the discourse in society at the moment is whether xenophobia and Afrophobia has a place in South African society. With March in March, we have seen some of that.
It's been ugly.
Yeah, some of the discourse coming around as well. Do you think at any point in time someone may look at a 90%, 10% split as something that could perhaps spark further Afrophobia and xenophobia around whether documented or undocumented foreign nationals should be working in South African businesses, especially with the 90%, which is a large chunk of...
well, and firstly, undocumented, there's no place for anybody who's undocumented in South Africa. Absolutely not. However, we do need to address the cries of the people and address that South Africans are not happy. That's why we need to focus on small business development so that we create more jobs, so people are not fighting for the jobs at the bottom, for the low-hanging fruits. I mean, I obviously agree with you, especially this is a humanitarian station. The world is everybody's world, you know, everybody should benefit from the world. However, the reality is that there are borders, although they were created in Berlin, but there are borders, and people do look after their own citizens in other countries, and we should also have the responsibility as a government to look after our own citizens first.
I'm going to bring it back to a bit of finances now, in terms of, I mean, we have 80 billion rand budget here in the city of Joburg. Probably more, probably less at times, but we have a massive budget that you work with. Coming from your background, how would you manage that? From a social commentator, author, poet point of view,
well,
the arts and maths sometimes.
Well, also the fact that I'm a person who lives in a house who has to run their own economy, and I haven't been wealthy, so I do understand how to budget so that you actually make it. But as I said to you before, people must rest assured that I've got teams behind me, people who are educated in finance, people who know better. It's not like I'm completely dumb also, because I have studied a bit, thankfully. But I think that people should relax. The administrative part of being a mayor is taken care of. There's the real mayor, who is the city manager. That's the person who controls all those things. But for me, it's just about how we prioritize the budget, which I think that that shouldn't be a problem. It's about accountability for me. It's about my communication and how I make all the departments work well together. So I think people should just be at ease about this mayoral role and the budgets and everything. They're CFOs, guys. There are teams in finance who are going to handle the nitty-gritties. I don't need to be the one who's doing the auditing myself, you know? So I think people should relax. I think that my job is to create a synergy in that City of Joburg office that is going to create the best results for the entire city.
Moving towards coalitions, the City of Joburg has been
Yeah, which
Going
is
through a whole lot of coalitions over the last
which is
10
part
years,
part of the
potentially.
problem, right? The fact that we haven't had a stable mayor for a long time, so that we can actually measure results. All the infighting and the greed and the political. So we have to think. I personally feel that everybody must just vote for land, because we need an outright majority, so that there's no like having to share and then you take this part, because that is what creates corruption. When you break up the pie and people start thinking about themselves and their self-interest, that's the problem. So I'm not so keen on coalitions, and I'm hoping that I mean, as much as I'm David, I'm hoping that some miracle can happen. But I mean, otherwise, the reality is that I will have to work with everybody. I think as a mayor of Joburg, it's not just about the land party. It's about what strengths other parties can also bring to you. It's not like EFF doesn't have people that have got strengths that I can draw from. It's not like Action SA or even DA has got people that I can draw from. So I think that my ability to work as a team player is what's most important, more important than anything else.
I'm going to keep with the coalition question, because that's where the city of Joburg has been for the last 10 years or so. And there's been multiple changes in mayors and city managers and speakers of the council and
so
on and so
disruptive.
forth. Would you enter would the land party enter a coalition? And I'm going to follow this up with a yes or no, right? I'm going to just list through a couple political parties,
Okay,
and we're going
fine.
to go with yes or no, and then we can elaborate in a
Okay,
bit, right?
so personally at the land party, it's a no for us.
Across the board.
We don't want coalitions, because that is how corruption manifests itself. We want an outright majority.
If you don't make the majority as a minority party, would you then join?
Well, we have no choice
a
then.
coalition?
It's only when we have no choice that, okay, obviously we would have to, because it is teamwork, and governance is about working together collectively to ensure that the citizens are taken care of. But if it were up to us, we don't want coalition.
Well, should you reach a point and you are a minority and you needed to enter
Yeah.
into a coalition, where are we with? Would you work with the ANC?
Okay. The thing is that I feel as if breaking up the pie is really detrimental for the people, because everybody represents such different interests. And when we break it up, then only that interest is sorted out. When you work with the ANC, I mean, that's just working with the black elite. When you work with the DA, then you must know that everything's going to be privatized, and all the resources, the wealth of the land is going to get out of the country. So for me, ideally, if there is any form of government of national unity, I think that everybody should be represented. So that we can all hold each other accountable and call each other to order, but not factions. I really think that the factions are exactly what's breaking up our city.
I'm assuming that you're going to be running away from the specific political party answers, which I'm going to let you off easy on this one. So
no, you can, you can. No, go for it. It's fine.
How are we looking on the Democratic Alliance? Is there someone you'd form a coalition with?
Or
enter a coalition with?
As I said, we won't specifically enter coalitions, but if we had to work with everybody, can I rather answer what strengths I would take from each party? Is that fine with you?
How about we bring it to this, right?
Okay.
What are some of the red lines if you were in coalition negotiations, which you'd say, look, if this is on the table, not happening for us?
Okay, DA has to learn to look after poor people. DA has a tendency to just sort out big business, which is actually foreigners, because it's Europeans. So it doesn't prioritize Africans. It doesn't prioritize poor people. So for me, for us, if we had to make that difficult decision, man, that's a very difficult decision. It has to be in black and white that there's going to be a focus on injecting the foreign investment into downtrodden communities, and not just about taking the wealth of the land. So for DA, that's how we feel. For ANC, I mean, when you look at BE has only benefited the black elite who are connected to each other. So also that has got to go. It has to be broader based. It has to actually really affect people on the ground. It really has to. It has to be about everyone. I mean, when you look at the land and the the expropriation and who's gotten the land, it's the elite black families and ANC who've benefited from that. It hasn't been people in townships. It hasn't been the working class. So those are the two big ones. I suppose you want to know about EFF as well. So with EFF, I mean, although we are both quite left aligned, EFF has to learn to stop talking left and walking right. So we've got a distrust with EFF in that they say they're working for the poor, but their leaders, we see them in like fashion labels and drinking expensive alcohol. So yeah, it's that credibility issue with the EFF. So they would have to really believe and do what they say they're going to do. I can't really speak on Action SA because they're also relatively new. So we're still watching them, but we would work with Action SA. It's just that Action SA is a DA light. So I hope I'm not being too honest here. I'm looking at your face.
No. It's this is for our listeners, right? And for our audience. If that's the sentiment that you share, I think it's important for our audience to kind of get that understanding as well.
So, and then the Patriotic Alliance, I think that it's important for colored people to have a voice. So I do encourage participation and working with Patriotic Alliance. It's just that whole gangsterism thing that is like the ex-convict, not gangsterism, well, both. And the ex-convict stuff is stuff that is like gray area-ish. Yeah, willing to work with everyone. I don't want to offend anyone and like wake up to a media roar tomorrow, but yeah, those are the red flags that we see in those parties. I mean, we work with PAC. It's just that the PAC also is kind of not standing up for what it used to say it stood for. So, I mean, that's why I say that everybody's got different weaknesses, different strengths. If I look at the positives, what they can bring positively, because now I've looked at their negatives, I think that the DA, we do need the foreign investment from their cousins in Europe, definitely. And you also find that the DA, because nothing was given back, you know, unlike the Holocaust where the Jews still get repatriations and reparations, that has never happened in South Africa where the people who hoarded the economy gave anything back. So the DA has that opportunity to now share the resources. ANC, because they're a liberation movement, they've got a lot of experience, and we could learn a lot from the history of ANC so that we don't go back to where we come from. I know it's a bit sentimental, but it's really important for us to know the history we come from and how to avoid going back to there. The EFF has got quite a machine. You know, the young people are just like they are a machine. So we can benefit from the EFF. And like I said, the PA is coming in with the colored movement, the colored people movement. And this is a multicultural, multiracial party and country. So we should be working with everybody. And then again, the PAC is also it's an offshoot from the ANC and the historical background. We can never let go of the liberation movements because they are our reminder of what we are working towards and what we sacrificed for our freedom.
We're wrapping up, but a big part of what I think people attach to a political party is kind of that gut feeling, you know, having some sort of connection to it. Sometimes it's linked to what people appreciate for their local governance, sometimes what they're expecting to happen tomorrow within their community, whether it be potholes, traffic lights. For other people, it may be foreign policy. And we haven't really touched on that, but seeing as though we've reached that point. Salam Media's audiences are very aligned or potentially aligned to the Palestine-Israel situation right now, that current crisis, that war is going on at the moment.
Yes.
What is the Land Party's stance on that?
We stand with the people of Palestine. We understand apartheid. We understand we understand what's going there because we've experienced it. So we're not even ashamed to say that. We stand totally behind the people of Palestine, and we need to make sure that human rights are not violated. We need to make sure that people's land is not taken away from them. So these are the policies that we believe in. We believe in looking after the marginalized, the vulnerable, the victimized. So yeah, that's the Land Party stance.
Thank you very much for your time. Before we run away and let you go back into the cold outside of our studios, what would your message be to the residents of Johannesburg? 30 seconds.
The residents of Johannesburg, we need something new. We need a new, fresh energy. We need a young person. Our population, the average is about 28 years old. So there is no reason why you are voting for 70-year-olds. None whatsoever. We need fresh energy. We need fresh ideas. We need, it's just about the energy. And you can trust me. You actually can trust me. I don't have any scandals whatsoever. And I've been in front of your eyes for decades. We have some great ideas. I have the ability to weave through different cultures, different races, which is quite a rare quality. And I think that that's what Joburg needs, since we are quite a mixed pod. So please do the right thing on the 4th of November. Vote land. Ntsiki Mazwai for mayor. It's important. I might be the mayor that Joburg doesn't know that they need.
Ntsiki Mazwai, thank you very much for your time this evening. We greatly appreciated you coming out in the cold. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us here on Salon Media. That's Ntsiki Mazwai joining us here, the Johannesburg mayoral candidate from the Land Party, giving us her insight on what she plans to do for the city. You can catch the podcast. If you happen to miss this episode, it will be on our Facebook page and our other social media platforms. So if you have missed it and just joined us, you can catch that out on our website and our social media platforms from after this show as well. It's just gone at 10 minutes past 8 p.m. Central African time. We are going for a short break. We'll be back with Ansela Smith from Special Olympics South Africa. Please stay tuned.